Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Tuesday, so it's time for another TMI Tuesday trans Q&A. Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel McKinnon, making gender make sense. Let's get started. So first I want to start with a little news for the channel. I have had a request, and I think it's a great one, to release the audio of each of these videos as a form of a podcast. So I'm going to try and find a way to do that, and then you will both have the video version and you'll have a podcast version with the same content. The other thing is, I want to let you know what's happening for Friday's video. Friday, I'm going to take on this term TERF, that stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, and I'm going to talk about whether or not TERF is a slur. Spoiler, it's not. But I'm going to go into the philosophy of language about why it's not a slur, and it's not even a derogatory term. So time for today's question. There's only one this time, because it's a big one. And this one came to me over Facebook. Someone asked me, Rachel, in the face of such hate, how do you keep going? So, what does that mean, right? Hate, Rachel, Dr. McKinnon, what do you mean hate? What sort of hate do you face? A lot, it turns out. I am regularly subject to hate speech, harassment, bullying, online and off, largely by people who claim to be feminists. These trans exclusionary radical feminists, or TERFs, hate trans women. And they go out of their way to target trans women, especially those who are audacious enough to be publicly open about being trans and who advocate for trans rights. So people like me. This is the fourth time that they've come after me. Each time has been increasing in frequency and increasing in severity. And this is by far the worst so far. I actually expect it to get worse. I know you people are watching. Fuck you. I'm not going away. I'm gonna talk about this. So the first time that they came after me was about 2 years ago, because there's this person who knew that I'm trans, and we used to be like on friendly terms. She even wrote a blog post for me, but then she sided with the transphobes in a very confusing way. She's been feeding them the sorts of things that I've been doing, and in the first instance it was cycling, so I started winning some bike races. They circulated this one particular podium photo of me, and they keep circulating it. They're starting to make full memes of this podium photo, including slurs like tranny, calling me male, calling me a cheater. One thing that they really love to focus on is they objectify my body. So ironically, these radical feminists, the thing that they hate about patriarchal society is how men have this male gaze and they objectify women's bodies, so they pick them apart. They say, let's look at the size of her forearms, their waist, and oh, she's not pretty, right? They pick apart women's bodies, and radical feminists hate that. And yet what they're doing with me in this podium photo is saying, oh my God, look at her, she's so much taller than the others. Of course it's unfair that Rachel's competing as a woman. She's really a male and invading women's spaces. A common TERF tactic is to use the language of rape. To invade a woman's space without their consent is to rape, and therefore I am a rapist and a rape apologist. Makes no sense, but it's a TERF tactic. On this particular podium photo, the girl who got second, I'm not gonna use her name, but it's public record, she's 13. I'm 33 in that photo. Of course I'm bigger. What is wrong with you? So they love to point to my legs and say, well, she's got big legs, of course it's unfair. One, the other girl's 13, and she is actually friendly with me. She supports my cycling. I know her and I know her family, right? So they love to use this girl without her consent as some sort of argument against me personally, that I'm doing something wrong, that I'm cheating when I'm actually following the rules. Like, it's really gross. They are using someone without their consent to make this horrible transphobic ideological argument right? They're doing the very thing that they claim to be against. And so they love pointing at the size of my legs. My legs are not the biggest in cycling. There are lots of women who have bigger legs than me. In fact, the girl who got 5th in that race in our breakaway of 5, bigger than me, is a bigger rider than me. Size doesn't win races. Also, for cycling, if there are any hills at all, someone my size who specializes in sprinting, I come last, right? In a stage race on the circuit stage, I won because it came down to a sprint. And then the very next day was a mountainous road stage. I came almost dead last. I got dropped immediately. I was off the back of the pack in the first half mile because of the climb. Different courses select for different bodies. That race that they loved to use the podium photo from for 2 years ago was a flat, pancake flat race, which just suits someone like me. But the hilly ones, I come dead last. You don't hear these TERFs talking about those because it doesn't fit that they're propaganda ideology. So they circulate these photos of me racing and they're saying, oh, here's this male, Rachel, right? Because that's my legal name, you assholes, is like raping women by entering women's races and she's cheating and they're just harassing me on Twitter, whatever, fuck them. The second time they came after me was when I was on Twitter. And they love to attack on Twitter. I work on TERF propaganda, specifically anti-trans women propaganda, which I'm gonna teach you about. Just wait. I posted a tweet about, oh, hey, I'm starting working on this paper on TERF propaganda, and then, oh, they descended. These people travel in packs on Twitter. There aren't that many of them. There's like maybe 100, maybe 200 active TERFs on Twitter, but they roam in packs. They really follow each other. They're really insular. For people who've never experienced that before, it can feel really overwhelming. It can feel like there's so many of them when there really isn't. They came after me saying that I'm using hate speech and slurs and I'm a misogynist and a rape apologist. The irony is that in posting and them coming after me, I started using their tweets in my research on trans propaganda. And when I go give public talks on TERF propaganda, my slides are mostly their tweets, right? So they're helping my research, which is to me hilarious. So keep at it, assholes. You're helping my career. The third time they came after me is when I finished that project on TERF propaganda and said, hey, here's the paper. And it's coming out in one of philosophy's most prestigious journals, Philosophy and Phenomenological Research. Twitter shitstorm again, but this time they escalated. So they weren't just tweeting at me. They started writing emails to the journal editor to have my paper blocked from publication. So they were trying to censor me. The irony is they tried to say that, well, she uses the term TERF in this paper on TERF propaganda, and TERF is a slur. Never mind the fact that in the paper, I address why it's not a slur, because it's not a slur, and I explain why. So they're saying she uses this slur, it's hate speech. They said my paper was hate speech. Most amazingly, they said, if you publish this paper in this journal, it will silence young feminist philosophers. You shouldn't publish it. Why is that ironic? Well, the solution to the worry that you might silence young feminist philosophers was to literally silence this young feminist philosopher. But irony is lost on these people. The extra layer of irony is that my paper called The Epistemology of Propaganda, it's arguing that the real worry of propaganda like this is not that it will convince the targets, namely trans women, it's that it will convince otherwise well-meaning people who don't know better, which is what happened. So I had to have 10 or so of the most famous feminist philosophers and philosophers of language write to the journal, vouching for my paper. It's not hate speech, it's not using slurs, it conforms to all academic standards. The editor's like, okay, I will publish it as is, there will be no editorial comment, right? The TERFs, you failed. But this is the fourth time. This time, they've gone a whole extra step. So the thing about TERFs and their attacks on trans women is not that the trans women did anything wrong. It's not about that. They are looking for anything to create a false moral panic to feed into their ideology. You want to know what sparked it? My Mother's Day video. So they watch that video and they say that I'm a pedophile, that I am grooming children, that I'm using, I'm trying to convince and recruit children into the glitter family, and that glitter is like a pedophile thing. Like, fuck you. What is wrong with you? That's ridiculous. No objective person who watched that Mother's Day video sees what you people saw. Whatever. They blow up on Twitter. That's a thing. Then they start blowing up the comment section with dozens, it's over 100 now, hate speech comments. Trans-misogynistic, transphobic hate speech comments directed at me on that video. I had to move to a new comments policy, unfortunately, where I will only approve comments. And of course I'm not going to approve hate speech comments directed at me. I approved a couple so y'all can see what it looks like, but I'm not approving them. No, it's hilarious to me that they keep making the comments even today, even though I'm not publishing any of them. These people are not smart. They're fucking stupid. What is wrong with you? There's the YouTube stuff. Hey, thanks TERFs, that video has been viewed over 3,000 times now. You're really helping my channel. I have almost 200 subscribers now suddenly. Thanks again. So they come after me on Twitter. There are threats. There are violent images being sent my way. Tons of hate speech. Then there are these blog posts that are on web pages dedicated to hating trans women, calling me a pedophile and all that bullshit. Okay, so that's another escalation. I've been on these blogs before for my cycling. They love to use me as an example of everything that's wrong with transgenderism. Fuck you, that's propaganda. Transgenderism is not a thing. There are trans people and we have rights. But the next stage is they have been tweeting hundreds of times, at least 500 at this point, at my college with hate speech and propaganda. They always misgender trans women, dead name. They try to dredge up pre-transition pictures, they call us male, they refer to penises, right? It's horrible. And then they're now writing emails to my administration saying, you need to investigate this professor, she uses hate speech, she's a pedophile, she's blah, 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 blah. Bullshit, right? Never mind the fact that the administration explicitly supports me, my work, and my academic freedom. Moreover, the US government gave me a green card, gave me permanent residency for this work on trans rights. That's why I'm here. That's why I have a job. Going to my employer saying you employ this person doing this stuff, they're gonna say, yeah, that's why we hired her. What are you doing? Right? So you people look like idiots, 'cause you are. What is wrong with you? But it's gonna get worse. This video will piss them off even more. And Friday's video about why TERF isn't a slur is gonna piss them off even more. There will be more hate. There's a risk of this escalating even further. I don't want to get into how, but it's there. There are options. I could run, right? I could sort of reduce my presence. I could not do YouTube videos. I could not argue for trans rights. I could not be a trans activist or advocate. In the past, I've sort of waited and hoped for these to blow over. Not this time. This time, you fucked with the wrong person. I'm smarter than you. I do this for a living. I am really good at explaining complicated fuckery. One thing that I'm gonna do is start a new series of videos called TERF Tactics and Propaganda. I'm leaning into it. I'm coming for you. Another inconvenient truth for these TERFs is that I am actually a well-liked person. Every time you come after me, I get more followers. My profile in my field, but in society more general, rises. I get more prominent the more you come after me. You are helping my career. You are making it more obvious how horrible you are, that you have no argument, that you are on the wrong side of this. Rather than running, I've decided to expose you. I will not block you on Twitter. I will retweet your transphobic bullshit. I will not hide. People will see what you're doing. The harassment and the bullying and the violence that you are trying to put on trans women. I will not let you get away with it. So how do I keep going? Because I know that being a lightning rod for this hate, showing that we can stand up for it, and offering some of the tools to analyze how they're attacking us and how we can respond, gives me hope. because I know it helps people. I know that people write into me and they say, wow, the way that you are standing up to these people is really inspiring. You make me feel like it's okay, that I can carry on too. So I'm emboldened by this hate because I know that you coming after me is a death knell for you and your ideology. You're doing this because you're losing. You're scared. Why are you obsessed with trans women? Trans women didn't start this fight with TERFs. You did. I never had anything bad to say about radical feminists until TERFs came after me and trans women. If y'all stopped fucking with us, we wouldn't have anything negative to say about you. So how do I keep going? Well, thankfully, I have so much social support. I have so many active supporters who are here for me, who are reaching out, offering their support. People are writing counter emails to my administration. There are dozens more emails and letters of support for me than there are these hateful emails being sent. You people are outnumbered, and I know it. So how do I keep going? Because I need to. Because if I break, then other people will too. Okay? That was a pretty dark TMI Tuesday now, wasn't it? So look forward to Friday's video on why TERF isn't a slur. If you have a nice comment to leave, please leave it down below. Remember to like the video and to subscribe for future videos. Thank you.